It didn't roar like a lion. It didn't sprint like a cheetah. But the saber tooth didn't have to. It waited. Hidden in the brush, still as stone, under the pale orange light of an ice-age sunrise, this predator was built for ambush, not speed. It didn't chase prey for miles across the tundra. It ended things in seconds. And you'd never even hear it coming. This wasn't just a big cat. It was Smilodon fatalis, the apex predator of prehistoric North America. About the size of a modern lion, but heavier and stockier. Imagine a beast the weight of an NFL linebacker with muscles carved from stone, thick forelimbs, and a jaw that could open twice as wide as yours. But let's talk about the real nightmare fuel, those fangs. Up to 11 inches long, curved like daggers, designed not to crush, but to stab, slice, and sever. Most predators bite and hold. The saber tooth aimed for the throat, the spine, the windpipe, precision kills. If it got close enough, you were already dead. You might think, well, at least I could outrun it. Wrong again. Smilodon wasn't built for long chases. But it didn't need to be. It relied on covered, dense forests, rocky outcrops, tall grasslands. You'd be walking with your clan, thinking about firewood, when suddenly, wham, 200 pounds of muscle and fang would slam into you from behind. And unlike most big cats, this one likely hunted in packs. Think about that. Not one, but 3 or 4 saber-tooths working together. Flanking you. Coordinating. Some paleontologists believe they were as social as lions, but even more ruthless. Now ask yourself, if you were standing alone, barefoot, cold, clutching a wooden spear, would you even see it coming? Forget the fangs for a second. What made the saber-tooth truly deadly wasn't just its body. It was its mind. Smilodon wasn't some mindless brute running on instinct. This predator was a strategist, more calculating than you'd expect from something with murder blades for teeth. Let's talk intelligence. Its brain was relatively large, especially the parts associated with problem-solving and social behavior. That's your first clue that it didn't just hunt like a loner. Many scientists now believe saber-tooths operated like a wolf pack, cooperative, patient, and organized. One distracts. Another flanks. A third goes for the kill. It gets worse. Unlike lions or leopards today, saber-tooths weren't just fast and furious. They were slow, deliberate, and horrifyingly quiet. Their bodies were built for stalking, not sprinting. Those thick front limbs? Perfect for wrestling prey to the ground. Their claws? Like curved meat hooks. Their bite? Less pressure than a lion's, but that wide jaw let them drive their teeth into precise weak points. And that precision required patience. Smilodon likely waited for hours. Watching. Sniffing the wind. Listening for the careless rustle of a footstep. Once you were inside the kill zone, there was no warning growl. No dramatic charge. Just motion, swift, sudden, and final. But what about fear? Could they be scared off? Unlikely. They weren't just predators, they were confident killers. If they were in a pack and smelled weakness, injury, fatigue, distraction, they'd exploit it fast. No hesitation. No bluffing. And the eerie part? Fossil records show very few broken fangs. That means when they struck, they hit their mark. Every time. So if you're thinking you could bluff your way out, yell, wave your arms, maybe throw a rock, think again. You're not facing a lion with a bad attitude. You're facing a prehistoric assassin with patience, precision, and teamwork. And if it has your scent, it's already decided how this ends. Let's walk through it. You're a prehistoric human, maybe 18 years old, wrapped in animal hide. You've been tracking a herd of caribou for days. Your clan is hungry. You're tired, distracted, and alone just for a moment. That's all it needs. Step 1, the stalk. The saber-tooth sees you before you even know it's there. It's downwind, crouched low behind a fallen log. Every muscle locked in place. You're within 50 feet. For a modern lion, that's already too close. But Smilodon? Smilodon waits. Your ears catch a sound, a crunch, a twig. You turn, but too late. Step 2, the pounce. Smilodon explodes forward, not in a graceful leap, but a thunderous tackle. With its short, powerful legs and dense frame, it covers the ground in just a few bounds. Its massive forelimbs slam into your chest, driving you backwards into the earth. The impact alone is enough to knock the wind out of you. Now you're not fighting an animal. You're pinned under a 600-pound nightmare. Step 3, the finish. Those 11-inch fangs aren't made for chewing. They're scalpels. With terrifying precision, the saber tooth shifts its weight, opens its jaws nearly 120 degrees, and drives its fangs into your neck, targeting the carotid artery or spine. One bite. One pull. Lights out. That's not Hollywood drama. That's science. Fossil evidence from prey animals like bison and ground sloths shows puncture marks in the neck and skull, always in vital zones. This was surgical, not chaotic. And here's the most brutal detail. Smilodon didn't kill by suffocating you like modern cats. It aimed for the fast kill so you wouldn't struggle and the rest of the pack could eat in peace. It wasn't just a hunter. It was a butcher with a built-in toolkit: fangs, claws, brute strength, and brain power. So the next time someone says you versus a saber tooth would be a fair fight, you'll know the truth. It wouldn't even be close. Okay, let's drop you into the wild. You've got no GPS, no flashlight, no fire starting kit, no phone to call for help. Just mammoth hide boots, an itchy fur tunic, and whatever you can carry in your calloused, freezing hands. So, what do you have? The typical Ice Age human wasn't walking around with a sword or axe. You had a toolkit crafted from bone, stone, and survival instinct. And no, you didn't have endless spears like a video game character. Maybe one, maybe two. Each one took days to carve and fire harden. Losing one, that hurt. Let's break it down. This was your main defense. A long wooden shaft tipped with sharpened stone or bone. Sometimes flint. Not made to pierce saber-tooth skin easily. This wasn't like poking soft prey. It was more like trying to stab a moving boulder covered in muscle and fur. To land a kill shot, you had to hit fast and deep, usually under the jaw or between the ribs. And get this, most humans didn't throw them. They used them like close range, not like a Viking axe. This was a sharp-edged rock, palm-sized, perfect for slicing meat or defending yourself in pure desperation. Think of it as a last-ditch blade if your spear was gone and death was close. If you had fire, you were lucky. But in a sudden ambush, no time. You weren't starting a cozy campfire while being stalked. Fire was useful at night, for smoke or keeping predators at bay. But in a face-to-face fight, useless unless it was already burning nearby. Bottom line? Your weapons were primitive, fragile, and few. Your only real edge was how you used your brain. And in the next part, we'll explore how Ice Age humans turned weakness into strategy, and sometimes, against all odds, survived. Let's get one thing straight. You couldn't outrun a saber-tooth. You couldn't outmuscle it. But you could outthink it. That was your true weapon. And it started with teamwork. Unlike the saber-tooth, early humans were part of something bigger, a clan, a tribe. You weren't out there solo hunting with your spear like an action hero. You moved in groups, you communicated with gestures, sounds, even early language. That alone? A massive evolutionary edge. So how did you fight something like a Smilodon? You didn't fight it directly, you lured it. Early humans used terrain the way predators used stealth. They positioned themselves near cliffs, crevices, or swamps. If the beast chased, it could slip, fall, or get stuck. We found bones of large predators in bogs and pits, suggesting ancient humans may have baited them into dangerous ground. Risky? Sure. But clever? Absolutely. Saber-tooths didn't fear much, but they respected numbers and chaos. A single person with a spear? That's a snack. But 5 humans banging stones, shouting, waving fire, now that's confusing. Early humans used overload as defense. They'd surround the predator, distract it, scream, throw rocks, jab from all angles. The goal wasn't always to kill, sometimes it was just to force it to back off. Remember, predators hate injury. One wrong move and they're out of the game for good. You had to be patient. Wait for the right moment. Maybe you let the beast charge someone with a shield-like branch while the others flank it with spears. Maybe you aim for its legs first. Maybe you feint, bait it, and tire it out. Sound familiar? It's strategy. It's cooperation. It's the one thing saber-tooths didn't evolve for. Because when you live by Fong alone, the brain eventually catches up. Even the best plans fall apart. And in the Ice Age, a single mistake could get everyone killed. Let's walk through a scenario, one that probably happened hundreds of times. You and your hunting group set up a clever trap near a frozen ravine. Someone spotted paw prints. They're fresh. You build decoys, scatter bones to bait it, post lookouts. Spears ready. Nerves tight. Then, nothing. Hours pass. Wind howls. Your torch flickers. One hunter wanders off, maybe just a few steps to relieve himself. That's when it strikes. Smilodon didn't follow your rules. It didn't walk into the kill zone like some obedient prey. It circled, waited, found the weak link, and pounced when you weren't ready. Suddenly it's chaos. One of your clanmates is screaming, pinned beneath a blur of muscle and fangs. Spears fly, but it's hard to aim when your friend is in the middle. The creature slashes, dodges, bolts, vanishing into the trees before you even catch your breath. The camp's shaken. Someone's dead. Others are injured. Your best spear broke. And worse, you never even landed a clean hit. Welcome to the Ice Age. This wasn't a world where humans dominated. It was a world where even the smartest group could fail. Fossil records suggest early humans often lost these encounters. You'll find shattered bones, gnawed skulls, evidence of us being hunted. Sometimes it wasn't even a saber-tooth. It was wolves, bears, a fall through thin ice, infection from a small cut, hunger, cold. But the saber-tooth? It represented the ultimate test. A predator so advanced, so specialized, it could erase you in seconds. Still, we adapted. We learned. And over time, we got better. But not because we were braver. Because we were terrified, and that fear sharpened our minds sharper than any stone blade. Survival wasn't guaranteed. It was earned moment by moment, generation after generation. The morning fog is thick, like wet wool wrapped around your face. You can barely see your own hands. The trees creak. Somewhere, water drips steadily onto frozen leaves. Your clan is moving silently through the forest, hunting elk. But something feels off. Too quiet. The birds aren't chirping. No rustling ahead. Then you see it. A flicker, movement low to the ground, too fast to register. You freeze. Your breath catches. One of your companions steps forward, clueless. And that's when the ambush begins. From the fog, a saber-tooth lunges, jaws wide, fangs gleaming with frost. It doesn't growl. It doesn't roar. It just collides. Your friend goes down hard, a gurgle, then silence. Everything is chaos. The fog swallows sound, distorts distance. You spin, looking for shapes, movement, anything. But the saber-tooth is gone. One hit. One kill. Back into the mist. Here's the terrifying truth about this scenario. You were never the hunter. You were the hunted. In conditions like this, low visibility, dense forest, saber-tooths thrived. They didn't rely on endurance or high-speed chases. They waited until your group was distracted, spread out unaware. And the worst part? They didn't always attack alone. If this was a coordinated group hunt, there could be another one flanking you right now. You wouldn't even hear the crunch of leaves before it hit you from behind. So what could you have done differently? Not much. In these kinds of conditions, even early humans tried to avoid wooded areas at dawn or dusk. Visibility equals survival. They learned the hard way that fog, twilight, and silence were all invitations to disaster. If you had fire, you might have seen the eyes in the dark. If you'd stayed tighter as a group, the saber tooth might have hesitated. But in the fog, when fear is thick and instincts scream, even the smartest clans could lose. It's dusk now. The orange glow of the Ice Age sunset stretches across a muddy watering hole. Mammoths have passed through earlier, their deep prints dot the edge of the bank. Your clan is camped just beyond the trees, watching. This is a trap. But it's your trap. You've set it up carefully. Dug narrow pits along the animal trails. Coated sharpened sticks in fire-hardened resin. A mix of mammoth dung and rotting meat serves as bait. And now you wait. You're hoping for a deer. Maybe a bison. But instead, what steps from the tree line is a saber tooth. It doesn't head straight for the water. It sniffs the air. It senses something's wrong. It circles wide. You and your group hide in the shadows, spears gripped tight, hearts hammering. The plan was never to kill a saber tooth, just to avoid one. But now it's seen you. And it's not turning away. Here's where the survival odds shift. You don't have surprise anymore. But you have terrain, numbers, and fear your own, but also possibly the beast's. You bang rocks. You shout. Someone waves a torch. The saber-tooth lowers its head and charges. Just as planned, it steps directly onto the pit trap, but doesn't fall all the way in. One leg slips. It screams, not a roar, but a horrible, guttural snarl of pain and rage. Now it's thrashing, front claws digging, back legs kicking mud, spraying blood and spit. You rush forward. Spears thrust toward the neck. You aim high, above the shoulder, under the jaw. One lands. Then another. After a long, brutal struggle, the beast stops moving. It worked. But you're shaking. One clanmate is injured, clawed across the ribs. And looking down at this creature, fangs longer than your forearm, muscles twitching even in death, you realize something. That trap wasn't a guarantee. It was a coin toss. And this time, you just got lucky. You're alone this time, separated from your group after chasing a wounded deer too far into unfamiliar territory. The land here is steep and rocky. High cliffs overlook a wide valley of snow and pine. You realize your mistake too late. Behind you, the low growl of death. You spin around, and there it is, a saber tooth, crouched between boulders, golden eyes locked on yours. Its breath fogs in the cold air. Its muscles coil. There's nowhere to run but forward or over the edge. You tighten your grip on the short spear in your hand. It's worn, chipped. Your heartbeat is louder than the wind. This isn't a planned fight. This is a panic fight. You back away slowly. The saber-tooth stalks forward. Tail low, shoulders rippling. One wrong move, one stumble, and you're either dinner or splattered on the rocks below. But you remember something. The slope curves to the left. A narrow ledge, slick but climbable. If you can draw it closer, you might be able to bait it over the edge. So you throw a rock, not at the cat, past it, into the trees. A sound, a distraction. It blinks. Just for a moment. You bolt, not away, but along the cliff edge, toward the narrow ledge. The saber-tooth gives chase, snarling, fast, silent. You slide, scramble. Your foot catches. It's almost on you. Then the cliff gives way beneath its front paws. A final leap, but it mistimed it. The ground crumbles. The beast slips, claws digging deep, scraping stone. For a breathless second, it hangs suspended, muscles shaking, jaws snapping wildly. And then it falls. Silence. Then a distant, wet thud. You collapse, chest heaving, skin cut, spear lost. But you're alive. This time, survival didn't come from strength. It came from movement, instinct, and the tiniest sliver of luck. And when you stare over the cliff's edge, heart still racing, one truth remains. If you hesitate, you die. If you panic, you die. If you think just fast enough, you might live. All right, no more simulations. No more clans. No more clever traps. It's just you now. No fire. No spear. No backup. You wake in a cold forest clearing, disoriented. Maybe you hit your head. Maybe you were separated during a storm. Either way, you're barefoot, bleeding, and alone. You stand up slowly. The sun is low. Shadows stretch like claws. Your breath puffs in short bursts. You turn toward the sound of running water, hoping for a stream, maybe food, maybe shelter. But instead, at the edge of the trees, you lock eyes with it. The saber tooth. Not a fossil. Not a story. Real. Massive. Watching. It doesn't move. It doesn't need to. Because now you're in its world, stripped of your technology, your comforts, your 21st century brain fog. So what do? Fight? You have no weapon. Not even a rock in reach. You're not outrunning it, not barefoot. You're not climbing too late. So, scream? You do. A wild, primal sound that echoes through the trees. It startles birds. Echoes off the rocks. But the saber tooth? It blinks. Still watching. Still calculating. Because this is the game it's played for thousands of years. Wait. Test. Strike. You start to circle. Eyes on it. Heart pounding. You pick up a stick barely longer than your arm. It won't kill. But it might buy time. The cat shifts its weight. A paw steps forward. You raise the stick high, yell again, stomping the ground. A standoff. Two species. One ancient. One modern. Only one walks away. And in that moment, your skin cold, your muscles aching, the air thick with death, you realize. This is what your ancestors faced every day. And if survival feels like a story to you, that's because they lived it so you wouldn't have to. You were never trained for this. You don't know how to skin an animal, craft a fire drill, or build a deadfall trap. But your body? Your body remembers things your mind has forgotten. The hair on your neck rises. Your breath slows not out of fear, but out of focus. Your eyes dart for shadows, escape routes, anything to break line of sight. You're not thinking anymore. You're reacting. Instinctively. See, your ancestors didn't survive the Ice Age because they were stronger. They survived because over hundreds of generations they passed on survival-coded instincts baked into your nervous system. Startle reflex. Peripheral scanning. Fight or flight response. Even that creeping chill in your gut when you sense you're being watched? That's not paranoia. That's ancient wisdom quietly whispering, you're not safe. The saber tooth shifts again. It's watching you but not rushing. You move sideways, trying not to turn your back. Your stick is still up. Your legs ache from tension. You see a narrow rock formation 10 feet to your left, just wide enough to squeeze through. If you can bait the cat to lunge, maybe you can slip through and buy a few seconds. You take a step. Another. The beast lowers its head. Now it moves. Fast. Silent. A flash of muscle and fong. You bolt not away but through. You dive between the rocks, scraping your arms, smashing your knee. Pain flares, but you're through. You hear it slam into stone behind you. A roar not of dominance, but of frustration. You're not safe. But you're not dead. And that counts for something. In this moment, stripped of tools, stripped of plans, it's not knowledge that's keeping you alive. It's the raw, inherited reflexes carved into your DNA by 1,000 generations of survivors. You're not a tourist in time. You're a human animal. And deep down, you remember. You've bled. You've run. You've screamed until your throat went dry. And somehow you're still alive. But survival isn't just about one lucky escape. It's about what happens next. Night falls fast in the Ice Age. The temperature drops below freezing. You have no shelter, no fire, no food. You're bruised, limping, and your adrenaline has crashed like a broken wave. You're shaking from fear, from cold, from the realization that no one is coming to help. The saber tooth may be gone, but the night brings wolves. So, could you survive the next 24 hours? Let's run the truth. Food? If you don't find it fast, your strength fades. Water? Without it, dehydration fogs your thinking. Shelter? Without warmth, hypothermia sets in. Injury? Even a small gash could kill you in a week. Now remember, your ancestors survived this every single day. Not for a weekend, not as a game, but as their only reality. They did it by building tools from scraps, by reading the sky, the tracks, the winds, by staying quiet when their hearts screamed to run, by learning, adapting, and never, ever underestimating what nature could take from them. Could you do the same? Maybe, maybe not. But here's the real point. The fact that you're alive today, sitting in safety, listening to this, means someone in your bloodline did. Someone faced a saber tooth with a stick and a scream, and somehow made it. And every beat of your heart now is their legacy echoing forward. So if you're asking, would I survive? Here's the answer. You already have. Because they did. And while you may never have to face a saber tooth in the flesh, life will throw its own versions your way. Fast, brutal, and unexpected. And when it does, maybe you'll remember what's buried deep inside. You're the descendant of survivors, and you were born to fight back. So, let's be honest. If we dropped the average modern human into the Ice Age with nothing but a stick and a half-formed plan, the saber tooth would win 9 times out of 10. But that one time, that one miracle moment, that's where you came from. Your ancestors weren't superheroes. They were tired, hungry, injured, cold, just like you would be. But they fought smarter. They worked together. They learned. They adapted. And generation by generation, they passed those lessons down. Not in books, but in bone, instinct, and blood. You don't have to outrun a predator in real life. But the world will throw things at you that feel just as terrifying. A layoff, a diagnosis, a heartbreak, a moment when you feel completely, terrifyingly alone. And when that moment comes, remember the Ice Age version of you, barefoot, bleeding, clutching a stick, and still standing in front of a monster twice your size. You're built to face fear. You're built to survive the impossible. You're built to adapt just like they did. If this story lit something primal inside you, if it made you pause and ask, would I have made it? Then you're exactly the kind of person we made this series for. So hit that subscribe button. Join us as we dive into more wild matchups, you versus mammoths, dire wolves, Neanderthals, ancient megastorms, and beyond. Because survival isn't just about the past. It's a mindset for life. And hey, you made it to the end of this video. So, maybe the saber tooth never stood a chance.